Folks, it's day 3 of the government shutdown. Still no deal in sight. Republicans, they say, Democrats, they hope they're going to buckle. Also, Donald Trump, it's amazing. He now acknowledges Project 2025. Remember when he said he knew nothing about it? Joining us right now is Congressman Steven Horsford of Nevada. Congressman, glad to have you here. Republicans have spent a lot of time trying to brand this shutdown. It's been all about the Democrats, but polling data shows that they are the ones who are bearing the brunt of the heat for this shutdown. It's theirs. They have to own it.
100%. The Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House. They control the votes in determining whether or not their budget could pass. They knew that they did not have the votes. In fact, their own budget got fewer votes than the Democratic alternative when it went to the Senate. I'm starting to think that this is more about Speaker Johnson wanting to protect Donald Trump from the full release of Epstein's files than he is about protecting the American people and our right to affordable health care. Leader Jeffries and House Democrats have called 3 specific things: cancel the cuts to Medicaid and Medicare, lower cost on middle-class families, and save health care. Nothing more, nothing less. And that is what we are fighting for in this moment, not just what we're fighting against.
Also, we talk about fighting in this moment. You're also fighting misinformation. You're fighting people. And again, I'm listening to some of these people. I saw a clip last night. I'm going to play it in a second. Stephen A. Smith was on the SiriusXM radio show talking about how, well, you know, inflation is not as bad as it used to be, and we haven't really feeling it, and how the economy hasn't cratered. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Donald Trump has had 2 consecutive awful months of job growth. Biden and Harris didn't have one in 48 months. You also look at inflation, higher today than it was a year ago, higher than it was last month. Meat prices up. You're still talking about a housing issue. So I'm like, what world are you living in?
Well, as you know, I represent Las Vegas, and we are confronted with what's called the Trump Slump right now. And since the beginning of this year, tourism has been down double digits. We have seen room occupancy down. We are now seeing an increase in the rate of unemployment, particularly with our hospitality workers. And this isn't only affecting tourism because of Donald Trump's trade wars against Canada. It's affecting small businesses. These tariffs, which are taxes that Americans pay, are actually driving up the cost on everything from housing to healthcare, prescription drugs. Now he wants to put 100% tariff on that at a time when families, middle-class families, feel like things are getting harder for them and more expensive. This administration's policies are actually inflicting more pain on the American people. That is why House Democrats have said enough is enough. It's time to lower the cost, cancel the cuts, and save health care.
To that particular point, I was looking at New York Times had a story just yesterday talking about how Vegas has been getting hammered. It said of the 5 million international visitors that come to Las Vegas every year, 1.4 million of those folks are from Canada. And Donald Trump pissed the Canadians off. And so the Canadians said, holla, we're not going to sit here and come to your country. Asian travelers are not coming. So his tariffs and his abrasive, nasty, despicable nature has said to international tourists, you know what? We have options. We don't have to go to Las Vegas or go to Miami or Los Angeles or New York City. And so the travel business have down billions of dollars in 2025. I've seen some estimates may say we may be down some $20 billion this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, when Donald Trump refers to Canada as the 51st state, and he inflicts trade wars on our most trusted trading partner, Canada. Look, Canadians who come to Las Vegas stay longer, they spend more money, and they get out and don't just do things on the Las Vegas Strip. They get out into the other parts of our great state, contributing to our outdoor tourism economy and the small businesses. I want people to know this. We're about to host the HBCU Classic in Las Vegas on October 24th against Grambling State and Jackson State. It's one of the biggest HBCU Classics, and it's going to be played at the Raiders Stadium. So despite Donald Trump's infliction of pain on Nevadans and our tourism economy, we are doing everything that we can, and we're resilient to make sure that people know that they're welcome. In fact, Leader Jeffries just appointed me to be a member on the U.S.-Canadian Interparliamentary Group to help restore some of our relationships with our Canadian partners because of how important their role is. And it's not just to Las Vegas. We're dealing with the fact that the World Cup is coming to the United States. We have the Olympics coming to the United States in 2026, and the 25th anniversary of our nation's founding. So at a time when we should be working on making people feel welcome, the Trump administration is doing everything to make them feel unwelcome. That is why we have to put a check on Donald Trump and these capitulating Republicans in Congress who continue to bend the knee to this tyrant, this person who thinks that he's a king. Well, you're not, Donald Trump. We have a co-equal branch of government. It's called the Congress. You don't get to roll over us, just like you don't get to roll over the American people. And it's time we put a check on Donald Trump.
Real quick, let's go to my panelists for some questions for Congressman Steven Horsford. Matt Manning, civil rights attorney at Corpus Christi. What you got?
My only question, Congressman, is just in terms of what the American people that are not in Vegas might not be seeing. How major are the effects of the Trump tariffs, like you were talking about with Canada and Canadian tourism being down? How major is that felt there in Las Vegas, and what kind of metrics have you seen that show exactly how these policies are ruinous for the American people?
So thank you. So international travel is a third of all travel into Las Vegas, and Canadian travel is a third of the international travel. So we're down over 12% just since the beginning of this year. This didn't happen last year. This isn't a holdover. This is a direct effect of Donald Trump's trade wars with Canada and his tariff policies, which have been erratic. And it's not only on tourism. I represent the rural part of Nevada, and I was out in Pahrump, the rural part, and talking to small business owners, and they also have seen a decline from Canadian travelers into the rural areas. Today, I spent the entire day talking to constituents about the effects of these healthcare cuts that are devastating to our communities in every respect, from rural hospitals to community hospitals to birthing centers and other facilities that are being impacted because of the cuts to Medicaid, the cuts to the enhanced premium tax credits. And that's why Democrats have said, we'll work with you to reopen the government, one that ensures that we save health care and make sure that it remains affordable for the people of Nevada and all over the country.
Joining us right now is Michael Imhotep, host African History Network show out of Detroit. Michael, your question?
On the day, we have seen the Trump administration and Donald Trump withhold $2.1 billion in infrastructure project money for Chicago, $18 billion in transit funding for New York, et cetera. We see them using economic pressure on top of threatening more layoffs. Has there been any talk among your caucus to organize economic boycotts against certain corporations that have financed the Trump administration, have financed Republicans, et cetera, because they're trying to weaken the resistance with economic pressure, and we have to meet that with economic pressure against them as well.
Well, that's a great point. In fact, I was just with the Executive Leadership Council, a council that really focuses on Black voices in corporate America, from the boardrooms to the C-suite. And you're 100% right. We have to continue to apply pressure to fight fire with fire. The fact that Donald Trump and his administration would seek retribution against of the American people and American cities because he doesn't like the fact that Congress didn't approve his partisan budget that cuts health care is completely unacceptable. But this is why we have to put a check on this administration. People have been saying, well, why now? Why are Democrats drawing a line in the sand now? He's been dismantling federal agency and defunding programs since the beginning of this administration. In fact, he lied about not knowing anything about Project 2025. Roland Martin and other people tried to remind people that he was the mastermind behind Project 2025. And what did he say yesterday? He's going to put Russell Vought in charge of the implementation of OMB and to make sure that Project 2025 continues. So he lied to us during the campaign. He's lying to us now. And it is time that we make sure that everyone knows you're either with us and the American people, or you're fighting against us and our economic well-being.
All right. Do we have audio? Do a Candace? Okay, so we're going to work through that as well. All right, Congressman Horsford, last point here. I just saw, Speaker Mike Johnson has announced y'all are not going to be in session next week. Did y'all just come off like 6-7 weeks? And what the hell? What is he scared of? And I take it he also still hasn't seated the woman from Arizona who won her race. What the hell's happening?
Adelita Grijalva. She won her race overwhelmingly. The Republicans who won their special elections were sworn in during pro forma session. He refused to recognize the Democratic leadership when we tried to call for her to be sworn in on Tuesday. And you're 100% right. Speaker Johnson canceled votes on Monday and Tuesday of this week, leading up to this shutdown deadline on midnight. He's on vacation. He's AWOL. Meanwhile, House Democrats have been here ready to work and ready to reopen the government while protecting health care. But I also want to just say, I think this is more about Speaker Johnson protecting Donald Trump from the full release of the Epstein files, because Representative Grijalva, when she's sworn in, which she will be the 218th signature on the discharge petition for the full release of the Epstein files. So what are you hiding, Speaker Johnson? Bring us back into session. Allow Democrats to do our job, or get the hell out of the way if you won't do your job.
Congressman Steven Horsford, we surely appreciate it. Thanks for joining us on the show.
Thanks, Roland.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.